Class 10 Chemistry, Chapter 3 Metals and Non-Metals. You all must have seen metals and must have observed some of the physical properties. Think about some metals which you use and find in daily life, like silver, gold, aluminium, copper, and also some non-metals which you see in the daily life, like oxygen, which is the most abundant non-metal found in the earth's crust, and oxygen is present in the atmosphere, which is very important gas which is used for breathing purposes. So, you must have seen some of the properties of metals. Let us discuss about the physical properties of the metals. Just by performing certain activities, take some pieces of iron, copper, aluminium, magnesium, sodium, lead, zinc. Rub these metals with sandpaper and see what happens. What do you see? You will find that these metals have a shining surface. This shining surface which the metals have is called metallic luster. So, it is a peculiar property of the metals that metals have metallic luster. Metals have shining surface. You must have seen that most of the metals are very hard and strong also, like aluminium, iron, copper, but there are certain exceptions also. Some metals like sodium and potassium are soft metals. You can see in the lab the sodium metal, which is very soft. And if you want to cut these metals like copper, aluminium, magnesium, zinc with a knife, will you be able to cut it? The answer is no, because these are very hard metals, but soft metals are also there, like exceptions are there, like sodium. Sodium is such a soft metal that it can be easily cut with a knife. Another soft metal is potassium. Metals are generally solids. Think about the metals like silver, gold, copper, aluminium, all these are solids. But here also there is an exception. Mercury is a metal which is a liquid at room temperature. Also, again an activity you can perform, take some metals like aluminium, copper, silver, gold, some pieces, place it on a iron block and hammer it. What do you see? You will find that you will get a sheet on hammering, and this property is called malleability. So, malleability is the ability of the metals to be beaten into thin sheets. Most of the metals can be beaten into thin sheets. You must be very fond of eating the sweets, and have you ever noticed the silver foils over the sweets? So, these are made of silver. Silver can be beaten into so small sheets like foil, silver foil. Aluminium foil you must have used in the house for packing the foods, and also the packaged food you get from the market, you purchase from the market, it also packed in aluminium foil. Gold is also very malleable. Gold is a very malleable, and aluminium, copper are the most malleable metals. Also, you must have seen the wires of aluminium, copper, iron, gold, silver. So, this property is called ductility. Ductility is the ability of the metals to be drawn into thin wires. Most ductile metals are aluminum and copper. That is why metals are used to make the wires, because they can easily be drawn into thin wires. From 1 gram gold, about 2 kilometer long wire can be drawn. Also, an activity can be performed to study the next property of metals. This activity can be performed in the lab. Fix a metal wire with the help of a stand and fix a pin with the help of wax. Now, place a burner at one end of the wire and heat the wire. What do you observe? You will find that this pin falls down. Why? Because the wax has melted. Now, why the wax has melted? Because this part is heated and the heat is being conducted to this end of the wire, due to which the wax melts and the pin falls down. What does it show? It shows that metals allow the heat to pass through them. That is, the metals are good conductors of heat. So, most of the metals are good conductors of heat. Now, have you seen that the cooking utensils in the house? What is the material used to make the cooking utensils? Think over it. Generally, cooking utensils are made of metals, because metals are good conductors of heat. Best conductors of heat are silver and copper, whereas lead and mercury are poor conductors of heat. Now, to test another property, another activity can be performed. Take a battery and connect it as shown in the diagram. Right. This is the conducting wire and a bulb is placed in the circuit. This is the switch, and here in this space the metal which is to be tested is inserted. Different metals are taken and they are tested. It is found that when all these metals, copper, aluminum, iron, silver, gold, are placed in this space to complete the circuit, it is found that the bulb glows. What does it show? The glowing of the bulb shows that the metals, all these metals, allow the current to pass through them. All the metals are good conductors of electricity. That is why the metals are used to make the wires, electric wires, which are used for conducting the electricity. Now, you must have seen the electric wires which are used in the houses. They are generally coated by a layer of either rubber or PVC, polyvinyl chloride, because you must be very well aware of this, that rubber and PVC, that is polyvinyl chloride, are insulators. They do not allow the electric current to pass through them, and so a person who is handling these electric wires can be saved from being electrocuted. Also, you must have seen the bell in the school. On hitting it with a hammer, it produces a ringing sound. This property is known as sonority, and the metals are said to be sonorous. The metals that produce a sound on striking a hard surface are said to be sonorous. Also, another property, metals have very high melting points and boiling points. They melt at very high temperature. except sodium and potassium. Another exception is gallium and cesium, which melt on taking over the palm. Metals have very high densities also, except sodium and potassium. Now, let us see the color of the metals. You must have seen that most of the metals are either silver or grey in color, but there are certain metals which have different colors, like copper, which is reddish brown in color, and gold, which is shining yellow in color.